What would you do if the moonbound Alpha King, cold, feared, undefeated, offered you freedom in exchange for surviving a single night in his bed? Not for desire, but for something far darker. Tonight, Celine Vera learns that some kings don't touch you to claim you. They touch you to ruin the part of you that still believes you're free. Hey, moonbound hearts, welcome back to another night of passion, power, and dangerous destiny. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, because you're stepping into a world where wolves kneel, kings rise, and fate never plays fair. Drop a comment telling me your favorite Alpha King moments so far, and let's dive deep into the fire. The story begins. Episode 1. The night the Alpha King chose an Omega. The great hall of the Blackfang Dominion fell silent when Alpha King Aldrich Thornvale rose from his throne. His presence was a storm, violent, commanding, bending the air itself to his will. Warriors dropped their gazes, elders bowed, even seasoned alphas trembled. But Celine Vera, wrists bound, chin raised just high enough to hide her fear, stood frozen beneath his gaze. Whispers sliced her like knives. Barren, worthless, a failed she-wolf. Omegas weren't chosen, they were forgotten. But Aldrich did not look at her with pity. His stare was darker, hungrier, like he could break open her soul with a single breath. He descended slowly, each step a thunderous command. His shadow swallowed hers whole by the time he stood before her. Her pulse hammered so violently she thought the whole court could hear it. Aldrich lifted her chin with 2 fingers, the touch deceptively light, yet powerful enough to make her knees weaken. "Do you seek freedom, little wolf?" His voice was a growl wrapped in silk. Her throat tightened. Freedom had never been offered, only dreamed. He leaned closer, breath brushing her cheek, warm enough to melt her resolve. "Then survive one night in my bed." His eyes darkened with something dangerous. "And I will set you free." Gasps shattered the hall. Not a claim, not a bond, a test, a deadly bargain. Celine forced her voice out through trembling lips. "And if I don't survive?" Aldrich's mouth curved, the kind of smile that meant ruin. "Then you won't need freedom." Something wild flickered inside her. Fear, defiance, curiosity she should not have felt. He saw it. He always saw everything. "Step into my chambers, Celine," he murmured, "and let fate decide." Aldrich took the chain binding her wrists and pulled her forward, leading her out of the hall as murmurs erupted behind them. But once the heavy doors closed, the world fell dead silent. The Alpha King did not look back. He didn't need to. His presence pulled her like gravity. When he opened the door to his chamber, a cavern of shadows, fur, firelight, and scent of pine, Celine's breath hitched. This was the lair of a predator, not a king. Aldrich released her and began circling her, slow and deliberate, like a wolf testing the edge of her fear. His gaze traced her throat, her lips, her trembling hands. "Why look away?" he murmured. "You asked for freedom, yet you fear what it costs." "I'm not afraid." A lie. He heard it. His low chuckle sent shivers down her spine. Aldrich stepped behind her, breath brushing the nape of her neck. "Then prove it." A single touch of his fingers against hers sent fire racing through her veins. She gasped, too loud, too revealing, and he felt it. He always felt everything. "One touch, and you tremble." Celine stepped back. He followed, slow, patient, unbearably controlled. "It means nothing." Aldrich's eyes darkened. "Then why does your pulse betray you?" He lifted his hand again and brushed his knuckles along her cheek, light, fleeting, devastating. Her knees nearly gave out. "You deny it," he murmured, his lips near her ear. "Yet your body answers me." His fingers drifted to her pulse, the frantic beat racing beneath her skin. "Tell me, little wolf, if a single touch makes you shiver, how will you survive my bed?" Celine's breath hitched, her heart thundered, and Aldrich smiled. A slow, merciless smile that promised the beginning of her undoing. Episode 2: The King's Chamber of Trials. Celine wasn't sure if her legs were moving or if Aldrich's presence simply dragged her forward. The corridor felt colder, narrower, as if the castle itself knew she walked toward a fate she had no power to refuse. Aldrich didn't look back once. Not when her breath hitched, not when her steps stumbled, not when fear curled around her throat like a tightening rope. He didn't need to. His aura tethered her more tightly than chains. He pushed open the carved doors to his chamber, and the moment she stepped inside, her breath caught. The room was vast, almost wild. Furs draped across a king-sized bed carved from obsidian black wood. A fire smoldered low in the hearth, its glow painting the walls in flickering gold. The scent of cedar, smoke, and alpha dominance saturated the air. It was not a room meant for comfort. It was a battlefield. Aldrich released her wrists. The iron cuffs clattered to the floor, echoing through the chamber like a warning. But instead of approaching her, he began to circle, slow, predatory, silent. Celine's breath trembled. She tried not to follow him with her eyes, but her body reacted to every shift of his shadow. He was close enough to touch her, yet he didn't. And somehow the restraint was worse. "Why do you tremble, little wolf?" he asked, voice a smooth blade. "I'm not. Lying does not suit you," he cut in gently, stepping behind her. She tensed. Every instinct screamed at her to move. His breath brushed her neck, warm, controlled, devastating. "You fear me," he murmured, "but not the way you fear a monster." His fingers ghosted the air near her cheek, never touching, only threatening the possibility. "You fear what I make you feel." Her knees weakened. Shame heated her cheeks. "Stop," she whispered. "Do you truly wish that?" His voice wrapped around her like velvet shackles. She didn't answer. Aldrich moved in front of her again, golden eyes burning through her defenses. "I can command your body without a single touch. Do you want me to prove it?" Her heart hammered so violently she thought her ribs might crack. He stepped closer. Closer. The air thickened, suffocating, intoxicating. But he didn't touch her. He waited. The tension curled like fire beneath her skin, tightening, tightening, winding her nerves into something unbearable. "You're trembling again," he whispered. "From fear or desire?" "I don't—" His finger lifted, not to touch her skin, just to trace the air an inch from her lower lip. Her breath caught. His eyes smoldered. "One word, and I'll close the distance." She swallowed hard. Her pride clawed at her. Her body betrayed her. She didn't speak. Aldrich's jaw flexed, restraint cracking at the edges. "Celine," he breathed, rough and low. "Do you know what it does to an alpha? To smell your pulse race every time I near you?" Heat surged up her chest, smothering her thoughts. He leaned in, close enough that her lips brushed the heat of his. But he did not claim her mouth. Not yet. He brushed the tip of his nose along her jaw, slow and deliberate. A whisper of contact. Barely a touch. Celine gasped. He stopped. Smirked. Soft, dark, dangerous. So responsive. So easy to unravel. "I'm not—" He closed the inch between them. Then stopped again, denying her the very thing her body had already betrayed wanting. Ruinous, calculated, merciless. "That," he murmured, "is the real test. Not a night in my bed, but surviving what I deny you." Her breath faltered. Her breath quaked. He leaned close, close enough that her lips brushed the heat of his. And then he pulled away. The cold air hit her like a plunge into icy water. Aldrich's voice lowered to a growl, layered with threat and promise. "You want freedom? Then understand this, little wolf. The only chains that bind you are the ones you're already letting me forge." Her heart stuttered, her breath quaked. "But the night is still young, and your trials are only begun." Episode 3. The Alpha King's Offer. Celine's pulse hadn't steadied since Aldrich stepped away from her. The air still smelled of him. Pine smoke, danger, dominance. She hated how her body reacted. Hated how her breath chased his like she needed it. Aldrich stood by the fire now, staring into the flames like he could read prophecy in its flicker. The orange glow sharpened the harsh angles of his jaw and cast shadows across the scars that marked his forearms. Scars no alpha should have. scars earned in battles he never spoke of. Celine forced herself to breathe, to gather the pieces of her courage. "If this is a test," she said, her voice steadier than she felt, "tell me its rules." Aldrich didn't turn. "You already know them." "I don't." He finally looked over his shoulder. Just one slow glance. And that one look nearly took her legs out from beneath her. "You survived the night," he said, "and I set you free." She lifted her chin. "And what makes you think your bed will kill me?" A dangerous smile ghosted his lips. "Because you still don't understand what I am." He walked toward her again, silent, fluid, lethal in his grace. Her heartbeat kicked up, traitorous and loud. He stopped just inches from her. "Most kings claim a mate to strengthen their bloodline. I claim only for power." Celine's stomach twisted. "So this is about power?" "No." He lifted a strand of her hair between his fingers, studying it like moonlit silk. She jerked back like the touch burned. "There's nothing fated about me." Aldrich's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something ancient stirring behind them. "Is that what they told you?" His voice sharpened. "That you are nothing?" She stiffened. He saw it. He always saw the wounds beneath her skin. "A wolf who has learned to hide her pain is far more dangerous than a wolf who flaunts her strength," he said quietly. The word dangerous rolled off his tongue like praise. Celine swallowed hard. "Why me?" Her voice cracked despite her effort. "You have she-wolves who would die to warm your bed, warriors who would bleed for your attention. Why choose someone the pack sees as worthless?" Aldrich reached out, not to touch her, to tilt her chin with a gentle curl of his knuckles, a gesture so unexpectedly soft she nearly leaned into it. "Because," he murmured, "I did not choose you." Her breath hitched. "Then who did?" He lowered his voice to a velvet growl. "The moon goddess." Celine froze. Aldrich continued, his tone shifting, quieter, deeper, threaded with something she had never heard in him before. "I dreamed your face before I ever saw it, heard your voice before you ever spoke, felt your fear before you entered my realm." Her heart stuttered. The fire crackled. "You don't believe me," she whispered. "I can't." He stepped closer. "You think I want this?" His jaw clenched. "I have ruled without weakness for years, but the moment you entered this castle, the bond stirred, wild, unwanted, undeniable." Celine's breath trembled. "You're saying I'm your mate?" "No," Aldrich said, voice turning cold as steel. "I am saying you are the one who can unmake me." He reached for her wrist, slow, almost hesitant, and pressed her palm flat against his chest. Heat surged through her. Not warmth, not desire. A pulse, a spark, a flash of something ancient. She gasped. Aldrich inhaled sharply like he felt it too. "This," he whispered, "is why you are here." Celine snatched her hand back, stumbling. "No, whatever that is, I don't want it." A shadow crossed the Alpha King's face. Not anger, not hurt. Something far more dangerous. Understanding. "You think rejecting this bond will save you." He took a slow step toward her. "But the goddess doesn't weave mistakes, Celine." "I want freedom," she whispered. "And I offered it, if you survive the night." Her heart pounded violently, she could barely hear. Aldrich's voice lowered, intimate and dark. "Beware, little wolf, but it is not my touch that will break you." He leaned in, lips brushing the air near her ear. "It is the truth you feel every time I'm near." Her breath trembled. His next whisper shattered her composure completely. "You fear me because you already know I was never meant to be your king." He paused, letting the silence burn. "I was meant to be your destiny." Episode 4. A Wolf with Too Many Secrets. Celine stumbled back until her shoulders met the cold stone wall. Destiny. The word echoed through her chest like a drum she couldn't silence. Aldrich remained still, watching her with an intensity that bordered on unbearable. Not anger, not desire, something more potent. Recognition. She forced her breathing to slow. "You're wrong," she whispered. "The moon goddess wouldn't choose someone like me." Aldrich tilted his head slightly, eyes narrowing. "And what exactly is someone like you?" "I'm nothing," Celine said quietly. "I was born without a wolf." She met his gaze, shame and defiance warring in her eyes. "I shift only once a year, and even then, it hurts." Her voice cracked. "No alpha king wants a broken mate." Aldrich's expression hardened. "Who told you that?" "My old pack." His voice dropped to a growl so low it vibrated through her bones. "Then they were fools." Celine blinked. Aldrich stepped closer, the heat of his body a sharp contrast to the cold wall behind her. "Do you know what makes a wolf dangerous?" he asked softly. "Strength?" she whispered. "No." He reached up and brushed a thumb across a loose strand of her hair, barely touching, more like tracing the air above it. "What makes a wolf dangerous," he said, "is what they survive." Celine's breath hitched. A deep ache unfurled in her chest, something old, wounded, longing. But Aldrich wasn't finished. He leaned in until his breath warmed her cheek. "Do you think you're weak? Goddess Celine, you walked into my court alone, bound, and still held your chin high." His voice sharpened. "I have seen warriors break with less." She swallowed, unable to hold his gaze. "Courage isn't the same as power." "It is," he murmured, "when courage is the only thing that kept you alive." Her eyes lifted sharply, startled. Aldrich caught the flicker of pain she tried to hide. "How long," he asked quietly, "did they hurt you?" She stiffened. This was the one question she never allowed anyone to ask. "I said I wanted freedom, not pity." Aldrich's jaw flexed. "Then let me offer neither." He reached out and took her wrist again, but gently this time, as though she were made of something precious instead of fragile. The heat of his touch traveled up her arm, settling in her chest. "I do not pity you, Celine." His voice dropped to a velvet growl. "I fear you." She froze. "Fear me?" Aldrich nodded, golden eyes burning with truth. "There is a kind of wolf the goddess marks differently, a wolf whose power sleeps until they are pushed too far." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "A wolf like you." Celine's heart thudded painfully. "I don't have power." "Not yet." Aldrich brushed his fingers along her forearm, soft, steady, reverent. "Your wolf isn't absent," he murmured. "She's hiding." Celine's breath trembled. "I'm imagining things." "Then why?" Aldrich's eyes flashed. Said softly, "Are your eyes glowing right now?" She gasped. "No, they don't." But she caught her reflection in a polished obsidian column. Her irises, usually dark, now shimmered with silver, alive, awakened, untamed. Celine stumbled forward, panic crashing through her. This isn't possible. My wolf is weak. No. Aldrich caught her shoulders, grounding her with his presence. You were lied to, he said. Your wolf is not weak. She is suppressed. He paused, lowering his voice. And I want to know who did it. Celine's breath shook. Memories flickered. Violence, fear, restraints, chanting. Hands gripping her face. A voice whispering, "Hide her, or she will ruin us all." Her stomach churned. Aldrich's eyes softened just enough to reveal something rare. Concern. "Celine," he murmured, "look at me." She hesitated and then lifted her gaze. "I won't hurt you," Aldrich said, "and I won't let anyone else hurt you again." His fingers brushed her cheek, gentle enough to undo her. "But I need the truth." Celine's throat tightened. "A ritual," she whispered. "When I was 13, my old pack seer said I was dangerous. They said my wolf would bring destruction. So they sealed her." A soft inhale escaped Aldrich, quiet but full of rage. "They caged your wolf," he said, voice low with fury. "And now she's waking." Celine shook her head. "You don't know that." But Aldrich stepped closer, so close her breath tangled with his. "Oh, little wolf," he murmured, "I knew the moment your hand touched my heart." He brushed a thumb across her lower lip, slow, deliberate. "You felt it too." Celine's breath trembled, and for the first time she couldn't deny it. Aldrich's voice deepened, wrapped in prophecy. "Your wolf isn't just waking." His gaze burned with certainty. "She's calling to mine." Episode 5. The King Who Cannot Fall. A cold wind slipped through the chamber, snuffing out half the candles. The shadows seemed to lean in closer, listening. Celine felt her own heartbeat echo unnaturally in her ears, too loud, too fast, too wild. Aldrich's gaze didn't waver. "You feel it, don't you?" he said softly. "The pull, the awakening." Celine shook her head, but her trembling betrayed her. "I don't want a bond. I don't want a destiny. I just want freedom." Aldrich stepped forward, expression carved from stone. "And what will you do with that freedom? Run? Hide? Pretend your wolf isn't clawing beneath your skin?" Celine flinched. "Don't," she said, eyes burning. "Don't act like you understand my life." For a moment, something in Aldrich's face cracked. Something tired, hollow, buried beneath years of armor. "You think I haven't lived with a wolf I cannot control?" he murmured. Celine froze. Aldrich's voice dropped to a low rumble. "You think being Alpha King means balance, stability, peace?" A humorless smile touched his lips. "No. It means every night I fight a beast stronger than any enemy." He took a slow breath, jaw tightening. "The bond doesn't scare me because of you, Celine." He paused, letting the truth fill the silence. "It scares me because of what it will unleash in me." Celine stared at him, the pieces falling together. "The scars," she whispered. "The battles you never explain." Aldrich didn't deny it. "I am not afraid of your wolf," he said. "I am afraid of mine." The admission caught him off guard. Kings didn't confess fear. Alphas didn't bear weakness.
But Aldrich wasn't showing weakness. He was warning her. "A bonded alpha is stronger," she said softly. "Yes, and far more dangerous." He took her hand gently, threading their fingers together. The contact sent a rush of heat up her arm, the same ancient spark she felt before. "Aldrich, feel," he murmured. Her pulse jumped against his palm. Not just hers. Something thudded beneath his skin, too. Deeper, older, like a second heartbeat intertwined with his own. Her breath hitched. "What is that?" Aldrich exhaled slowly. "My wolf," he said, "reaching for yours." Celine pulled her hand back on instinct, but he caught her wrist, not tight, just firm enough to anchor her. "You can run from me," he said quietly, "but you cannot run from fate." Her eyes burned with frustration and fear. "I didn't ask for fate, and I didn't ask for a mate who would upend my kingdom." Aldrich's voice cut, but calm. "But we don't choose the divine." He stepped closer, his presence enveloping her. "The real question," he murmured, "is whether you will face what you are, or keep running into the arms of those who want you powerless." Celine stiffened. "What do you mean?" Aldrich's gaze darkened. "There is more to that ritual than you've told me." Her stomach twisted. "I don't remember everything." "You remember enough," he said softly. "Enough for your wolf to shudder every time someone touches you." His fingertips brushed her forearm, light, careful. "And enough for her to react differently when I do." Celine's breath caught. This truth terrified her more than anything. Aldrich leaned in, lips close to her ear. "I don't want to break you," he murmured, "but if you keep lying to yourself, you will break." A tremor ran through her. "I'm not lying." "You are," Aldrich said, voice low and relentless. "To me, to yourself, to the wolf they tried to bury." Celine swallowed hard. Her pulse raced, her fingers curled against the cold stone. Aldrich lifted her chin, forcing her eyes to meet his. "Tell me," he whispered, "when did you last hear her voice?" Celine froze. Her blood chilled. Because she had heard something, a whisper in the back of her mind since entering the castle. A whisper that wasn't hers. A whisper that said, "He is not your doom. He is the key." Aldrich saw the truth flash in her eyes. "There it is," he breathed, "the fear that isn't fear at all." Celine's chest rose and fell in sharp waves. "What do you want from me?" she whispered. Aldrich's expression softened, then hardened with purpose. "I want your truth, and I want your wolf freed." Celine shook her head violently. "No, if you break the seal, my wolf could destroy everything." Aldrich stepped in, so close she felt his heartbeat against hers. "Then let her destroy me first." Her lips parted, her breath caught. "Aldrich!" He cupped her jaw gently, reverently. "Let me see who you truly are," he murmured. "Not the girl they caged, but the wolf the goddess sent to stand beside a king who cannot fall." The world narrowed to the warmth of his breath, the firelight in his eyes, and the truth her heart could no longer deny.
Episode 6. Shadows of the Past. Flames of Desire. The castle was quieter than usual, but Celine felt it like a storm lurking just beyond the walls. Aldrich didn't release her gaze, even as he circled her slowly, his presence a tether she couldn't break. "You're trembling," he said softly, voice low and dangerous. "It isn't fear, it's anticipation. The wolf knows something you refuse to admit." Celine swallowed, chest tight. I don't know what she wants," she admitted. "Sometimes I think she's trying to protect me. Other times, I think she wants me to destroy what I touch." Aldrich stopped in front of her, his eyes glinting like steel under moonlight. "Protection and destruction are not opposites for a wolf, Celine," he murmured. "They are the same force, shaped by the choices of the one she inhabits." Her stomach twisted. She wanted to resist him, to flee, but every instinct screamed to stay. "You keep hiding from me," he said, tilting his head. "From yourself, from the bond, from the fire that is meant to burn through us both." Celine's fingers clenched at her sides. "I can't control it, and if I can't control it, I'll lose you. I'll lose everyone." Aldrich's hand brushed hers, not to hold, but to command attention. "Control isn't the point," he said. "The point is surrender. Surrender to what we are meant to be, to the power we can become, together." Her eyes widened, as something stirred deep within. Her wolf, once a whisper, now pulsed like a drumbeat in her veins. She could feel Aldrich's wolf answering, strong, dark, unyielding, seeking, claiming, merging. "Do you feel that? The bond, the pull. It's not just me, it's us, and it's waiting to ignite." A chill ran down her spine, not from fear, but from the raw truth of it. She had been hiding from this moment all her life, the moment when the wolf would no longer whisper, but roar. Suddenly, the door slammed open. Shadows poured in, figures cloaked in black. "Celine Vieira, the Alpha King's bond, she cannot be allowed to awaken fully." Aldrich moved like a coiled storm, placing himself in front of her. "Then they will face the fury of a king and the wolf who stands beside him," he growled. Celine's heartbeat thundered as she looked into his eyes. No longer just Aldrich, the king, but Aldrich, the storm, the protector, the alpha who would not fall. The intruders hesitated, sensing the tremor in the air, the unspoken force binding Celine and Aldrich. And as her wolf stirred, awakened by his presence, Celine felt an undeniable truth. She was no longer running. She was standing, fierce and unbroken. And beside her, the Alpha King waited, a fire they both could not contain. Episode 7. The Wolf Unchained. The intruders melted into the shadows, but their warning lingered like poison in the air. Celine's pulse still raced, her wolf clawing at the edges of her control. Aldrich's hand found hers again, firm, grounding, claiming. "Do you feel it?" he asked, voice low. "The pull of your true power, the one they tried to bury." She nodded, trembling. "Yes, but it's like a storm inside me. I don't know if I can stop it." Aldrich's jaw tightened. "Then don't stop it. Let it guide you. Let it fight beside us." Celine's breath hitched as he stepped closer, his presence wrapping around her like wildfire. The heat between them was magnetic, undeniable, a force that drew the wolf from hiding, coaxed her from the shadows. "You could awaken fully tonight," Aldrich whispered, his lips dangerously close to hers. Her wolf stirred, a primal roar vibrating beneath her skin. She trembled, fear and desire tangled together, each heartbeat echoing the promise of power and peril. Then Aldrich's expression darkened. "They're coming," he growled. "Not just the ones outside, but the ones inside, the traitors who whisper lies and covet your blood." Celine's stomach twisted. "Inside? Who?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pulled her into the shadows of the hall, pressing her back against cold stone. "Look at me," he ordered, voice sharp but gentle. "Do not let them see you falter, not now, not ever." Her gaze met his, and in that moment something shifted. The fear that had clung to her all her life dissolved, replaced by something fierce, untamable. The wolf surged, roaring in triumph, in recognition, in awakening. Aldrich leaned close, forehead brushing hers. "You are mine," he murmured, "not as a possession, but as a force, a storm, a queen who walks beside a king who cannot fall." Celine's chest rose and fell rapidly, her wolf echoing his words in every pulse. She began, but the sound was swallowed by the storm rising between them. Suddenly, a gust of wind slammed through the castle, extinguishing torches. Shadows danced across the walls. Whispers, hisses, and promises of betrayal filled the air. Celine's wolf answered with a growl so low it vibrated through the stones. Aldrich's eyes blazed. "Then let them come," he said. "For every shadow, every lie, every threat, they will face the fury of the Alpha King and the wolf who refuses to be chained." The castle trembled, not from the wind, but from the force of their combined power, two hearts and two wolves aligned. Celine realized in that moment she was no longer afraid. Not of her wolf, not of Aldrich, not of destiny. Because beside her, the Alpha King stood ready, unyielding, and together they would face whatever darkness dared rise.
Episode 8: The Wolf Awakens. The castle's halls were a labyrinth of shadows and whispers, but Celine felt a clarity she had never known. Her wolf pulsed through her veins like wildfire, coiling, stretching, waiting. Aldrich walked beside her, silent, alert, his presence a fortress around her. "You're ready," he murmured, voice low, resonant. "Ready to see what you've been hiding from, even from yourself." Celine's breath caught. I don't know if I can control it," she admitted, eyes darting toward the flickering torches. "The wolf, she wants to take over." Aldrich stopped and turned to her, eyes burning. "Then don't fight her. Let her speak. Let her roar. Fear is what they want you to feel. Power is yours to claim." A shiver ran through her as he lifted a hand, brushing her hair from her face. "Look at me," he ordered. "Do you trust me?" Celine's lips parted, her wolf stirring, sensing the connection deeper than the physical. "Yes," she whispered, though her voice trembled. Aldrich's jaw tightened. "Then open the seal. Let the bond grow." The moment she did, the world shifted. Her wolf burst into life, a force of strength, of fire, of ancient blood. The air around them hummed with power. She felt it in her bones, in her heartbeat, in the spark that traveled through her fingertips as she reached for Aldrich. "Do you feel that?" he murmured, almost reverently. "The energy, the strength we share." Celine's pulse thundered as their wolves brushed against each other, entwining, merging in a surge of heat and electricity. It was intoxicating, terrifying, magnetic. And then the intruders returned, more numerous, darker, their intentions clear. Aldrich stepped forward, placing himself in front of her. "You will not touch her," he growled. "Not while I breathe." Celine's wolf answered with a low, menacing growl that seemed to shake the stones themselves. Power surged through her,
And for the first time, she felt unbreakable. No longer the hunted, no longer the scared girl. Beside Aldrich, she was unstoppable. The intruders faltered, sensing the storm that now roared within her. And as Aldrich's hand found hers, threading their fingers together, the heat of their combined strength became a force none could deny. "We are more than a king and his bond," Aldrich murmured, eyes dark and stormy. "We are a reckoning, and anyone who underestimates us will fall." Celine felt her wolf answer him with a growl of agreement, a sound that was both fearsome and freeing. She was awake, she was alive, and beside the Alpha King, she was invincible. The castle seemed to shudder at the force of their unity. And in the silence that followed, broken only by their synchronized breathing, Celine knew one truth. There was no turning back. The wolf was unchained, and so was she.
Episode 9. Blood and Fire. The castle trembled under the weight of approaching shadows. Celine's wolf prowled beneath her skin, a coiled storm of power and instinct. She had awakened fully, but the surge of energy made everything feel sharper, faster, more dangerous. Aldrich stood before her, his presence unwavering, eyes blazing with storm and fire. "Stay close," he commanded. "Every step you take now will test you, your wolf, your heart, your courage." Celine swallowed hard. "I'm not afraid," she said, though a tremor ran through her. Aldrich silenced her with a look that cut through the chaos. "You will never be truly afraid while I'm here," he said, voice low and unrelenting. "But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it." The intruders had returned, stronger, darker, their eyes glinting with malice. "This ends tonight," Aldrich murmured, wolf growling beneath the surface. "Either they fall or we rise." Celine felt her power hum beneath her skin, responding to his energy, merging, pulsing, electrifying. Her wolf surged forward, claws of instinct and fire ready to strike. She no longer feared her own strength. It was hers, and it was deadly. Aldrich's hand found hers, grounding her, guiding her. "Together," he whispered, "our bond is stronger than any blade, any lie, any shadow. Together, we cannot be broken." The intruders lunged. Aldrich moved like a storm unleashed, every step precise, controlled, lethal. Beside him, Celine moved with her wolf's ferocity, her instincts guided by power and trust, striking with unrelenting force. And then, amid the chaos, their eyes met, fire and shadow, desire and danger intertwined. Every touch, every glance, every heartbeat screamed of something deeper than survival, something neither had admitted, but both felt. Celine's wolf roared in triumph as they pushed back their enemies, and in that roar she realized the truth. She belonged here, beside Aldrich, in the storm, in the fire, in the fight. Aldrich's lips brushed her temple, a whisper of warmth and promise. "You are more than a mate, Celine," he murmured. "You are the storm I cannot tame, and I would not want to." Her chest rose and fell rapidly, the wolf still thrumming beneath her skin, Aldrich's strength entwined with hers. For the first time, fear was replaced with something else. The undeniable pull of passion, power, and destiny. The intruders lay defeated, or at least scattered, but the message was clear. Their enemies were watching, waiting, and stronger forces still loomed. And yet, as Celine looked at Aldrich, she knew one thing beyond doubt. They would face it all, blood, fire, shadow, together. The castle echoed with silence,
broken only by their synchronized breaths and the distant howls of the night. And in that silence, Celine's wolf growled, a promise, a warning, a bond that no one could sever. Episode 10: The King and the Wolf. The night air was electric, thick with the scent of battle and destiny. Celine's wolf surged within her, a tide of fire and power, coiled and ready. Every shadow in the castle whispered of the coming storm, of enemies, betrayal, and choices that could no longer be undone. Aldrich stood at the heart of the throne room, his cloak billowing like midnight. His eyes found hers instantly, storm and flame, fierce and unyielding. "You're ready," he said softly. I am," she whispered, though her wolf roared in agreement. "I'm ready to face them, and whatever comes next." From the shadows, figures emerged, traitors, hunters, and those who sought to claim her power. They thought her awakening a weakness. They did not know the force they were about to meet. Aldrich stepped forward, blocking her path. "Together," he commanded. "Our bond is fire and steel. Our wolves are one. They will not take you, not now, not ever." Celine's pulse thundered. The wolf surged, claws and teeth hidden, instincts sharp, senses alive. Aldrich's energy met hers, a current of storm and strength, anchoring, igniting, merging. The intruders charged, but they faltered instantly, the combined force of Alpha King and Wolf unstoppable. Celine moved with lethal grace, every motion empowered, precise, unstoppable. Aldrich was the storm incarnate, his rage and protection weaving around her, each strike a promise no one would harm what he claimed. In the midst of chaos, their eyes met, words unspoken, desire and trust blazing brighter than any danger. "You are mine," he whispered, voice low, unwavering. "And I am yours." Celine's wolf answered with a roar that shook the stones, a sound of triumph and unbreakable will. Her heartbeat synced with his, a rhythm older than time, a bond forged in fire and shadow. The intruders fled or fell, powerless against the unity of king and wolf. And in the silence that followed, broken only by their synchronized breaths, Celine realized the truth she had denied. She was home, her wolf was free, and beside Aldrich, she was invincible. Aldrich cupped her face gently, forehead resting against hers. "We've survived the darkness, but this bond, this fire, is ours forever." Celine's lips curved in a small, breathless smile. "Yes," she whispered, "forever." And as the first light of dawn broke over the castle, casting gold over stone and shadow, the Alpha King and the Wolf stood together, unbroken, unshakable, unstoppable. The kingdom was theirs, the night behind them, and a future, bright with fire and love, stretched before them.